Mortal Kombat 2 makes no sense. Mortal Kombat 1 sets up the world, the main plot, and is the catalyst for things to come. Mortal Kombat 3 is the things to come, and resolves the trilogy in a satisfying way. Mortal Kombat 2 is just another Mortal Kombat 1 with the same premise, plot, stakes, and resolution, and maintains the status quo to perfection. You can cut it out and nothing changes. The only thing that changes is the venue. It's a glorified spin-off episode, a filler arc, or worse, one of those useless filler movies that animes insist on releasing. Not saying MK2 isn't fun or cool, I'm saying it's functionally useless. That's it, that's the TLDR. You can click off the video now, but if you're not convinced or blue-balled for a solution, let's unpack this a little more because it gets worse. Besides being functionally inert, it also introduces nonsensical problems like the all-or-nothing Outworld tournament. This has always been retarded in both the first and second timelines. There are zero reasons why my guy should accept Outworld's invitation to have another tournament immediately following the first one and not even get a home turf advantage. They play in a way and got no fans in the seats. It's just straight up Outworld glazing. The tournament is supposed to happen once every 500 years or some shit like that. And even if that wasn't canon at the time of MK1 and MK2, tournaments still do not happen like a month or a year apart. No. In the MK9 version, they try to improve it by making it both an incentive and a threat. If Earthrealm participates and wins, Outworld can never challenge Earthrealm ever again. But if Earthrealm doesn't participate, Outworld will send some gay-ass raiding parties every now and then, you better believe it. The problem with Shao Kahn forfeiting his claim to Earthrealm is no he fucking won't. He's a dead-ass liar and Raiden knows this. And as for the Bald Brigade, oh no, they're attacking us over and over again, we have to keep defending ourselves. Is there any reason why you can't? Earthrealm nations have pretty big fucking standing armies with advanced tech, tanks, drones, ballistic missiles. Send your Mad Max looking chemo patients, I don't give a fuck. In the original timeline, it's even worse. There's no incentive given, no reason to do this shit. Shao Kahn's just like, yo bro, come visit Outworld, it's great. And Raiden's like, okay. And this is why I keep saying MK2 is basically filler. It doesn't accomplish anything, it shouldn't have happened. You can skip from MK1 straight to MK3 and do the invasion. It's also better for Liu Kang, because he don't gotta beat Shao Kahn twice, which is repetitive. Really, the only reason MK2 exists is so we don't have to set things 500 years into the future, to find some way to keep these characters that we've gotten somewhat attached to, instead of jumping to a time where all that's left of them is fossil records. And I get that, but it's a very soft-cock way to do it. The stakes are the same, the plot is the same, the resolution is the same, except it's no longer original. Filler arc through and through. Another problem with it is Shao Kahn's introduction is not as strong. It's watered down, because he simply appears and tries to beat the good guys, whereas if you had skipped to Mortal Kombat 3, he would have gotten to showcase his intelligence too, because reviving his dead wife in the realm he just so happens to want to invade but is forbidden to set foot on means he now has the right to set foot on it and reclaim his squeeze, which is a pretty clever loophole. So you deliver on the reputation and the sense of dread that's been built up for this man in a big way, instead of just me sore loser, me kill you. In MK9 it's even worse because they remove his loophole idea entirely, make it worse, and give the idea to Quan Chi. NRS do this a lot. They steal the thunder of established characters and give it to their creations or their favorites in order to legitimize them. Shao Kahn already can't invade or set foot on Earthrealm because he's forbidden to do so by the Elder Gods. Yet MK9's like, that's not good enough! We need it to also be because of Sindel placing a ward before dying that protects Earthrealm, which is redundant. The real reason is revealed later. It's because now invasion is totally fine. The Elmer Fudds are totally cool with it, because we need that to make our stupid he must win plot work. Shao now needs to be able to invade Earthrealm freely, and the gods need to turn a blind eye to this, so we need another reason why he couldn't do it before. Hence Sindel stretching her protective panties all over Earthrealm, then dying from the effort. Or from grief, because it was her favorite pair. One of the two. But it's not just the loophole thing. They removed every ounce of intelligence from Shao. Every single decision he makes that moves the plot forward is either someone else's idea or it's his and it's a bad idea. The whole Sindel revivification, say that 5 times fast, plus invasion idea is no longer Shao's, it's Quan Chi's. Shao just stands there complaining about his servant's ineffectual brainstorming and does whatever Quan tells him to do like a fucking tool, never once considering a sorcerer affiliated with a different realm might have his own agenda. Yes, magnanimous offer, yes, I'm weary of sorcerers, but he does nothing about it. Before that, he corkscrews Kung Lao for no reason at all, other than shock value. Before that, he needlessly antagonizes Kitana when she confronts him about Shang Tsung cloning her, when he could have just played dumb and fake promise to punish the bastard, makes an enemy out of her in her realm, and doesn't immediately kill her after just exposing himself to her, when he just learned there's now a viable clone to take her place. Now, to be fair to this game, it does offer a few advantages. Having an extra game allows you to introduce new characters, build relationships, plot lines, build the world building, all this fun stuff. And that is indeed what MK2 does, and could have emphasized even more, so there's more to it than just the larger plot points. But then you also don't need a tournament to do all that. MK2 could have been about the aftermath of MK1, about different realms meeting organically for the first time, about political subterfuge, machinations, all this lovely buildup of tension that's brought to a boiling point in MK3. The newer games don't have tournaments, so clearly you don't need one, not in every game. It's definitely been too long since we've had one in recent memory, but perhaps having 3 consecutive titles with 3 consecutive tournaments is a bit fatiguing and a bit of a one-trick pony. But Broadly speaking, having an MK2 saves you from having to cram too much into MK3 and risk it getting overbloated. Although, in a modern retelling with lots of runtime, cutscenes, and all the budget in the world, you can definitely beef up both MK1 and 3 such that MK2 no longer is needed. Introduce characters early, which indeed MK9 actually does compared to the original, stuff like that. So overall, removing MK2 and tweaking its neighbors still probably wouldn't generate any tears beyond the initial shock of indignation. But still, for the sake of leaving no stone, boulder, pebble, or miniskirt unturned, let's entertain the other possibility and see how we might improve MK2 enough to justify its existence. And one of my Discord members actually had a pretty interesting idea about this, that of altering the outcome of the second tournament. Instead of Liu Kang beating the big bad as he did once before and will do so again twice,
I'll fucking do it again,
making me sick to death of it, what if events transpire that render this tournament moot? Something to invalidate the proceedings, like a big sports controversy, a fiasco, a political shit show that the player isn't expecting. Because the player expects win or lose, that's it. So when you manage to escape that binary framework and hit him with this big drama clusterfuck, it's a pretty unexpected surprise. It still ends up being filler that maintains the status quo, but at least the outcome is less expected. More surprisingly, what if the drama is generated by Earthrealm, not Outworld? The idea given here is that maybe Liu Kang acts out of term and attacks Shao Kahn prematurely when he's not supposed to. Maybe he gets tricked into doing it, or maybe it's genuinely his fault. He was just saving someone in the process, which would be in character and explain the poor judgment. It could be any number of things. And this could have dire ramifications, forcing Earthrealm to forfeit the tournament. And since this is the one tournament to decide them all, Shao Kahn gets to invade Earthrealm. That is right, Shao Kahn's invasion could be legitimate. It would be very Empire Strikes Back in the sense that no one would expect the bad guys to actually win, yet be it because of a blunder or because Outworld actually unexpectedly fought fairly, they do. And what if we take it a step further, because there's still the problem of Earthrealm not needing to accept to partake in the MK2 tournament, so what if it's not Outworld who proposes it? What if it's Earthrealm? Yes, the goody two-shoes Earthrealm challenges Outworld to an all-or-nothing tournament. Why? 3 reasons. Number 1, because the governments of the world are pushing for it. Ever since they learned that there is such an existential threat as Outworld and who knows how many more out there, either the US government or a collection of governments decided to not wait for the cosmic threats to come to us, instead opting to take advantage of the tournament system to remove threats before they happen, with minimal casualties and some subterfuge sleeper agents, planted nukes, and other fuckery if necessary. Second reason on top of this could be that the heroes themselves want to. Simple. Definitely not the Shaolin, who are passive by nature, but the Special Forces guys, who are pretty heavily influenced by their superior officers to begin with, and have a pretty gung-ho, shoot first, ask questions, never mentality that can only be described as quintessentially American, and is just being pragmatically proactive, especially when the tournament itself may or may not be a smokescreen to hide the real operation. It's ill-advised, but expected of them. And the third reason is Raiden.
You're mortal, mortals die.
and I will in the next Mortal Kombat tournament, or 2 or 3 down the line, and for what? So that others can be happy for a few extra years? When I finally fall, the Earthrealm is lost anyway.
Recognizing that this is true, looking at the big picture, seeing things play out over thousands and thousands of years, and realizing that all these tournaments are doing is sacrificing lives one generation at a time while Outworld grows stronger and Earthrealm grows weaker, till eventually the inevitable happens and Earthrealm is extinguished, Raiden decides to take action. To the mind of a god that can fathom the far future, this is not speculation, it's a certainty. This path eventually leads to defeat. So what's the point? Employing this ruthless calculus, Raiden decides to potentially sacrifice just one more generation to save 1 million others. With the heroes in agreement, he decides to put a stop to Outworld once and for all, and the tournament is the key. Outworld cannot be defeated conventionally. It's too big, its ruler is too powerful, its forces are limitless. But through a tournament, things change. And whether the terms are respected or not is irrelevant. This is a plot. Either we win fair and square, or we resort to assassination or nukes. Of course, one of the most glaring things about this is that this behavior conflicts with the squeaky clean, wholly defensive nature that Western stories tend to ascribe to their heroes. Earthrealm looking for trouble seems very out of character for it. At the same time, it is a little bit more intriguing and, in a sense, more realistic. Earthrealm is not a squeaky clean realm. It's extremely divided, run by a bunch of different people, some of them probably sociopathic, and its history is as stained as Scarlet's panties during her period. Raiden has this aura of a squeaky clean god, but he's still a god whose goals and mindset are beyond those of mortals and often conflict with those of mortals. We think in decades, he and the other gods think in eons. He's presided over countless tournaments, mentored countless champions, and watched them all die, willingly feeding this sick cycle. Is that really better than a bigger gamble with potentially catastrophic ramifications in the short term, but that, on the flip side, might improve the balance of the realms for countless eons to come, the moral choice is not so easily discerned here. And all of this is decided before Shao Kahn is formally introduced, so the viewer kind of goes along with it until they see the guy and start to think that maybe the heroes are out of their depth a little. You could also have Raiden consulting with another god like Fujin to convey much of this cosmic atemporal perspective on things. And you could then also use this conversation to give someone like Shang or Quan some style points by revealing after the fact that they were impersonating Fujin and subtly convincing Raiden to go through with this plan. If it's Shang, it would be on behalf of his master. If it's Quan, it would be on behalf of his master. There's only one problem with all this. It renders Sindel's resurrection useless. Shao no longer needs to be smart enough and cool enough to resurrect her in Earthrealm and no longer needs Sindel at all. So the consequences for Earthrealm fucking up the second tournament would have to instead be postponing things to another tournament, prompting Shao to be impatient and resurrect his wife to invade Earthrealm, but then MK2 remains a useless filler game and nothing changes and blah. Not only that, but the whole thing just doesn't fully escape the realm of contrivance, I think. Even if it reads fine on paper, it seems like the sort of thing that, when acted out on screen, would reach MK9 levels of plot insanity. Even with all this extra reasoning, I still don't see a compelling enough reason for Earthrealm to accept or ponder a sudden death tournament. Earthrealm's military is more than capable of defending against raids by people with knives in their hands, and the odds of the second tournament are too risky, so that remains the most strained bit of logic. Earthrealm losing has some advantages. It makes Shao less of a stinker, makes the Elder Gods seem less callous or incompetent, and brings an element of gravity and tragedy into the mix, as Earthrealm itself was responsible for its own defeat, which, if done right, can set up some lessons and growth for most of the fighters to go through going forward, but it just kind of makes everyone involved a lot dumber. The good guys are dumber for pondering this scheme and or losing in frustrating ways, and Shao is not nearly as cunning as he could be, as he no longer games the system. Removing MK2 from the equation remains the cleanest option, but I'm not one to shy away from other possibilities. Hit me with your own thoughts and contrivances below. Peace. Ironic considering the subject matter, but we'll go with it. Peace! Special thanks to Sir Hishin and Clocks, as well as my other members, for supporting the channel.